Hi, it's Claire and welcome to Needle Say More. Today I'm going to show you how to sew trouser pockets. This specific trouser pattern gives a tiny slither of interfacing to be attached to the front trouser leg where the slanted pocket is. It's really important that you iron this on, use a medium heat iron so not to melt it, to give a really nice structure to the edge of the trouser where the pocket's going to be sewn. You are going to create a nice plain seam, so back stitch at either end, and you're going to sew the pocket to the front leg along the slanted seam, making sure that the fabrics are right side facing. Once it's been sewn together, just open it out, make sure you've got no tucks, no puckers, and that it's right side together, ready for the next step. For the pocket panel, it's been attached to the side of the front leg here. It's been understitched and then needs to be folded in half across the lengthways. I'll just hold it in place with a couple of sewing clips. Along here, so we want to sew it from this seam here. I'll put a pin there so you know where to start and finish. So we're going to sew from the pin down and across. And then it's going to be base stitched there and there. But let's start with doing this L-shaped pocket. So to allow for the fact that I've overlocked it, I'm just going to sew my seam this time on 1.2. So it's a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance, but I'm going to guesstimate that I might have trimmed 3 mils off. So I sewed really close to that pin, but I didn't quite sew on it. It's really important not to sew over your pins because they can snap, which is really dangerous. So we've sewed along the bottom of the pocket to here, and then we stopped exactly on the join of the pocket there, so that pin was really helpful for that. So the pocket has now been constructed. So if you fold it in and line it up with the leg here, and it should fold exactly where we sewed to because we put the pin in. So I'm going to baste stitch along there, and then it should be sitting nicely at the top and falling exactly where we want it to. So this top bit of the pocket here is an extension of the front. So that is almost the next bit of the front panel because of the shape of the pocket. I'm actually going to use pins at the top here, not sewing clips. So I really don't want that to slip because it will change the sizing. So the next step is to base stitch across here to hold the pocket to the back of the front panel, and then base stitch along the side seam here to attach that, and then this should all behave as one piece then. My machine, to put it onto a base stitch, you increase the stitch length by pressing this button, so it looks like a small stitch to a big stitch, and 5 is the biggest it will go. If you've got a dial on your machine, you want whatever the biggest stitch length you have. So this is going to be hidden in the side seam, so you don't need to sew too far in, and it isn't going to be visible. It's just going to hold it in place. And it'll move quite quick because the stitch is bigger. that is use the basting stitching to attach it to the back of the front leg, and we'll just do this across the waist now. So it's basted along the waist. So this is all one piece now. I'm going to go ahead and repeat on the opposite side.